All right, today we're diving into one of the most fascinating and creepy places in America, the Ridges Asylum in Athens, Ohio. This place has a long history, some truly bizarre stories, and a reputation for being seriously haunted. We're talking mysterious stains, ghostly voices, and a cemetery full of forgotten souls. I'm excited to break it all down for you, so let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to Into the Mystic. This is a channel where we explore all things mysterious, unexplained, supernatural, haunted, or unsolvable. I'm your host Tyler, and today we're talking about the Ridges Insane Asylum of Ohio. Remember, 86% of fake internet polls report that liking and subscribing will reduce your fear of the paranormal and make you smarter and stronger. So, with that out of the way, let's jump back in. So getting back to the beginning, the Ridges, originally the Athens Lunatic Asylum, opened in 1874. It was designed under the Kirkbride Plan, which was supposed to be a more humane approach to mental health treatment. They thought spacious buildings and beautiful landscapes would help people heal. Sounds nice, right? Well, reality wasn't quite so great. The asylum housed a mix of people, from Civil War veterans to individuals struggling with mental illness, and even women who were committed for so-called hysteria, which back then could mean anything from postpartum depression to just being a little too outspoken. Overcrowding became a major issue, and the treatments got, well, intense. Lobotomies, electroshock therapy, and other extreme methods were pretty common. You can imagine that kind of suffering leaves an impression. Some believe it's why the energy of the place is so heavy. The asylum finally closed in 1993, but by then, its eerie reputation was well established. Now, if you've ever heard of the Ridges, chances are you know about Margaret Schilling. Her story is the kind that sticks with you. In December of 1978, Margaret, a patient at the asylum, somehow disappeared. Staff searched for weeks but found nothing. Then, in January of 1979, someone finally checked an old, unused part of the hospital, and there she was. Her body had been there the whole time in a locked room. Here's the wild part. Even after they removed the body, a stain remained on the floor in the exact shape of where she lay. You can still see it today. Scientists say it's just the result of decomposition and sunlight, but others believe something more paranormal is at play. Beyond Margaret's story, there's also the asylum cemetery. Over 1,900 patients were buried there, but most of them don't have names on their graves, just numbers. That alone is enough to give anyone the chills. People visiting the cemetery have reported feeling overwhelming sadness, hearing whispers, and even seeing figures moving between the graves. Of course, places like this attract ghost hunters, journalists, and curious thrill seekers. And trust me, they found some weird stuff. Paranormal investigators have captured EVP recordings, basically voices caught in audio that weren't heard at the time. Some recordings have whispers saying, "Help me," or even people calling out names. Others have used thermal cameras and caught strange, shadowy shapes moving in empty hallways. One of the most intense investigations took place in the attic, where Margaret Schilling's body was found. A group reported sudden temperature drops, unexplained nausea, and at one point, all their equipment just shut off. Then, from somewhere down the alley, they heard a faint giggling. Pretty creepy, right? Well, people who have been to the Ridges have some seriously strange stories. Visitors have seen ghostly figures in hospital gowns, heard furniture moving in empty rooms, and even had doors slam on their own. One former security guard swore he saw a woman standing in a window of one of the abandoned buildings. He went to check it out because, that's his job. But when he got to the room, there was no one there. Another visitor was walking through the cemetery when she saw something move between the trees. Thinking it was an animal, she ignored it until she heard someone whisper her name right behind her. She was completely alone. Now, skeptics will say it's all just psychological, our brains playing tricks on us because we expect to be scared. Others think environmental factors like drafts and creaky old floors explain a lot of what people experience. But for those who have been there, it's hard to shake the feeling that something else is going on. All right, let's talk about some lesser known stories. Because trust me, there's plenty. A nurse who worked at the asylum in the 1970s once told a story about a night shift she'd never forget. She was sitting at her desk when she heard loud footsteps coming down the hallway. Thinking a patient was wandering, she went to check, but there was no one there. Just as she turned to head back, she felt someone tug on her sleeve. When she spun around, she was completely alone. Then there was a group of college students who decided to sneak into the building one night. They were walking up a staircase when they saw what looked like a misty figure moving ahead of them. One of them called out, and the figure stopped, and then disappeared entirely. Later, when they looked through their photos, one of the images clearly showed a translucent figure standing at the top of the stairs. Even in the cemetery, people have had unsettling encounters. Surprising, right? Some say they've heard names whispered, specifically their own. Others have seen strange, flickering lights that vanish when they get close. Whether it's spirits or just our minds playing tricks, these stories keep adding to the Ridge's legend. So, what's going on with the Ridges today? Well, it's actually part of Ohio University. Some of the buildings have been repurposed, but a lot of them remain abandoned, including the area where Margaret Schilling's stain still exists. If you want to check it out for yourself, there are ghost tours that take you through some of the creepiest areas, like the old patient wings, the cemetery, and yeah, the room that Margaret was found. People who go on these tours say they feel cold spots, hearing strange noises, and sometimes they just get the feeling that they're not alone. Even some of the tour guides have had their own experiences. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Ridges is one of those places that sticks with you. It's got history, it's got mystery, and plenty of eerie energy. If you ever visit, just remember, be respectful, because some places, they never really let go. So, what do you think? Is the Ridges actually haunted, or is it just a mix of spooky history and a lot of imagination? Have you been there? If so, drop a comment and let us know what you experienced. And hey, if you like content like this, don't forget, like us, subscribe. That notification bell helps us because we're a new channel and we're still growing. Thanks for hanging out today, guys. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. This has been Into the Mystic. Thanks.